Hello everybody and welcome back to Space Engine. It has been some time. I'm trying to do these at least once a month. I have been very busy the last 3 months. So, yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I've been working on the game Flank Speed, which I mentioned a couple months ago. That was supposed to be a very quick, like, arcade game to help pay for other things. And it kind of, well, it still is a small arcade game, but, yeah, it's taken longer than I was expecting because, well, I haven't tried to make a small game all the way through. It's like I made Go Outside Simulator just kind of when I had free time, but I'm doing full time on this, and it's been 3 months, and it's actually almost done. I just have multiplayer figured out now, and I'm just doing some final touches. I'll be doing some testing with some friends on Steam probably this week, and go from there. So I'm looking forward to that, because once it's done, I can get back to focusing on video stuff. Because I actually am working on a very complex video. 1 minute, where am I? I'm in the solar system, aren't I? Yes, okay. I am working on a somewhat, comprehensive, longer video. It'll probably be about 30 minutes long, probably, where I'm going to talk about just a whole bunch of, like, ludicrous space propulsions. Like, I'm talking the Orion drive, fission fragments, nuclear ion drives, laser photon sails, things like that. Nuclear saltwater rockets, lithium saltwater rockets. And it's going to be more comprehensive than my usual, like, 5-10 minute videos. But I want them to be, like, really just have a whole bunch of stuff in it and make it kind of more, I'm not going to say documentary kind of formatted, but, more like you can sit down and watch it for a bit. Kind of like my Venera videos, or video, which I personally am very happy with that one. Every time I see it in my catalog, it makes me smile. Whenever I get comments on it, it makes me smile. I'm actually very happy with that one. Oh, we've made it to the Horsehead Nebula, which is in... Wait a minute. That's supposed to be a real nebula, my guy. That's the Flame Nebula. What's this one again? I always forget. IC434. I feel like that just, it has a name, doesn't it? I forget. What's this? Orion Nebula. Right, the Orion Nebula. Oh, I made it to Orion. Interesting, interesting, interesting. But anyways, so I'll be working on that. And yeah. Once this game has been taking up all of my time, especially this last couple weeks. Well, 4 weeks, month. Because like I just want to get it done and just get it good to go. And ooh, there's life here, and just have it like, boom, good to go. And then I can start, fixing and updating as time goes on. However, after I published that one, I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to do a big update for Go Outside Simulator and then push that out of early access because it's been in early access for, what, 5 years now? And it occurs to me that I work on that game so infrequently that it's like, you know what, it's not going to change much. I might as well just add a whole bunch of new stuff to it, a couple new levels, get it out of early access and say, yeah, here it is. I'll continue to add stuff to it because it's a fun, therapeutic game, but it's a joke as well. Like, nobody plays Go Outside Simulator expecting it to be a real game. And if you read the reviews for it, pretty much everybody who's played it understands that it's a joke, and that makes me very happy. That warms my heart that people are in on the joke. I only got one person who made at least last I checked, who made a review where they were very unhappy with it because there was nothing to do in it, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. It's a go outside simulator. It isn't a rank up points simulator. I mean, there's things you can find in every level, but yeah, it's supposed to be kind of an empty, what am I doing here kind of game. Although some people have mentioned to me that they use it as like a relaxation therapy aid, and that actually makes me very happy. It's like, if somebody can use that to just like calm anxiety or stress, then that is fantastic. Because I actually originally started working on that to practice making scenes, because I wanted to do VR like exposure therapy programs for agoraphobia. And I still plan on doing that, honestly. In fact, I probably should, because it wouldn't be that difficult. And being somebody who suffers from agoraphobia, very badly, I found that exposure therapy has been very helpful. In fact, VR, despite the fact that I'm prone to motion sickness and VR does trigger that quite a bit, I've found it to be very helpful for me in kind of getting out of my world, if I should say. Like, because I do suffer from agoraphobia. I don't leave my house very often. I can't handle cars for very long. I don't like new places. I can't go to shopping malls. I hate shopping malls. I wish they weren't closing because people like them, but I don't like shopping malls. I can't be in a car for longer than 20 minutes without panicking. It's a real mess. Actually, I have gotten a lot better recently. In fact, my kayak has helped a lot of going out and doing stuff. However, in my videos where I'm kayaking and magnet fishing, it looks like I'm in the middle of the forest, but I'm actually literally 2-3 minutes away from my house in those videos. I'm in the park. Um, yeah, I just hop on my e-bike with my kayak in my bag, and I just scoot on down to the park. And it looks like the middle of a forest, but it's no, that's still in the city. It's just like 3 or 4 minutes away from my house. But it's a start. Like when I was 25, like before 25, like 24, 25, or 18 to 25, I should say, I was such a mess. I could not leave my house without having somebody with me at all. I couldn't. I couldn't even leave very much. In fact, I became nocturnal because of that. Like you may notice that my videos tend to upload at like very early in the morning because like in where I'm at, it's usually around 3 or 4 in the morning when I post videos, or maybe 5. And that's because I'm awake during the night and I sleep during the day. That's just how I exist now. For the last 11 years, that's how I've existed. And that used to be a coping mechanism for me. Oop. Because again, I was anxious about everything. I was afraid I was gonna die for just no reason. So I would sleep during the day when people were gone and at work, and then I'd be awake at night when people were home and asleep. Because even though they were asleep, people were in the house, be it my brothers or my mother, anybody, and I would feel comfortable because people were in the house with me. In fact, when I was a kid, same kind of thing. I would always take. Oh, it's under here. I would always take like there were 2 school buses out of my junior high. There was the main one, then a late bus that would leave about an hour and a half later, and I would always stay and take that bus. And because the reason for that was so that I could stay and just hang out in the library and read books and play on the computers, and I wouldn't be alone because there'd be a librarian there. So I felt safe. I didn't like going home and being alone for like 2 hours before my parents got home or somebody got home. So I was a real basket case, and I still kind of am. And it's because of that I want to do like VR stuff to help with exposure therapy because like that really is the best way to deal with agoraphobia and separation anxieties or just any kind of situational anxieties. It's the worst. Like, holy man, is it the worst. Like, when you actually suffer from a situational anxiety and you have to face that, it is so uncomfortable. Like, I got into airsoft for the sole purpose of combating that, and that was so uncomfortable for the first few times, but then it got easier. So it's like, yeah, Go Outside Simulator was a joke to help kind of work on learning how to do what I needed to do to make scenery so I could make exposure therapy programs. So, coming back around, this is a bit of a tangent. After I finish up Flank Speed, I'm going to go and just finish up Go Outside Simulator. And I already started making assets for my next, like, kind of small scale game. Because I need to have at least 2 things going at once. One of them being Cosmic Ocean, which I've actually gotten a lot of work done on while I've been working on Flank Speed because I can't stop. I'm kind of a workaholic. It might be wrong, or I should say unhealthy. In fact, my doctor has mentioned that I should probably at least take 1 day a week off, and I just don't do that. Even when I'm feeling sick and I'm like in bed, I have a copy of Microsoft Word on my phone, and I will still write or I'll still research stuff and take notes. Like I can't stop working. It's very unhealthy. I probably should take breaks and vacations once in a while, but I can't. And then that's a whole other mental illness issue. Anyways, I was asked to go to this planet, which does not exist. Let's make sure I did this right. Okay, RS8515-948 dash 6 dash 2 14050 dash 1145 space 8. Cannot find it. Do I need a dash here? No. Can I find the star itself? No. Dash 8. Is there a dash here? No. Interesting. I cannot find this. I did write it down correctly. 85159486214050-11. Are the dashes wrong? No, the dashes can't be wrong. No, the dashes are correct. Well, I will look into that later. If I can figure it out, then we'll go there next episode. But I can't seem to find it right now. I am sorry, the person who recommended that, because I do read the comments and I do look at whatever people ask me to do. Unfortunately, I do not see that, so oh well. But I will copy paste it directly and see if I can figure out what's going on, and we will get to the bottom of this. Anyways, so that was a very long intro. I didn't mean to go on a tangent about my mental health, but it was applicable to the game development conversation, so I suppose that's something. I like talking about myself. I'm not ashamed of my issues. In fact, it's because of them, of who I am today. I would probably have my degree right now if I didn't have them, but on the same rate, I also wouldn't be I wouldn't have the connections I have. Weirdly enough, I would probably be less active in the scientific community and have less contacts in the scientific community if I had followed my original plan by getting my degree than I currently do, which is very strange because I do not have my degree. I've been picking away at a bachelor's for the last 10 years, but because I can't work normally or go to a class normally, I have to do it online. It's I don't have it yet, and yet I have accumulated a fairly comprehensive, how do I describe it? I guess network of scientists and people in various fields, from aerospace to astronomy, chemistry. It's really weird. I'm very active. I would say also politicians, but I don't contact politicians to network. I contact politicians to antagonize them. That's just how I am. I can't help it. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll just antagonize one of my members of parliament or something, and I feel better, and they can't do anything about it, and it's hilarious. In fact, I contacted my province's Minister of Energy yesterday and harassed him about metal burning or metal fuel power generation. Because I'm in an oil economy, a very heavy oil economy. In fact, my government is so in the pockets of the oil industries that they've started putting legislation in place that essentially destroys large-scale solar and wind projects. And they say it's under the guise of agriculture and quote-unquote beauty, but everybody, we all just know. Anyways, so I was harassing the energy minister about metal burning fuel because it would produce no carbon dioxide. It would be cheaper than coal and natural gas, cleaner than coal and natural gas, more renewable than coal and natural gas. It's more stable than coal and natural gas. And the biggest ones I would say, it's it would be the energy it produces would be cheaper than coal or natural gas, which people like. And you can even scale it down to have it in cars. So you could technically make hybrid electric cars that are cheaper to fuel than gasoline. The usual things you say to a politician who's controlled by an oil company, things that make them uncomfortable. Anyway, so I was harassing with that, and it was funny. But honestly, metal burning fuel is so cool because the idea is I'm gonna make a full video on it, but the short or the long and short of it is we can burn iron for electricity the same way we burn coal. Because all you have to do is you just grind, like with coal plants, they grind the coal up into a powder, where's the life? Oh, it's in the moon. They grind coal up into a powder, and then they spray the powder into a burner, and they just burn it like that. And bish bash bosh power. And we can do that with iron. We can grind iron into a powder, and then spray it into a burner, like usually a tube, and burn it like we could coal, like just with fire. It'll self burn as you spray it through the burner, and it produces heat, and the heat you can use to boil water and turn turbines. And when you account for all the losses and everything, the energy output you get from burning iron in a large scale like burner is about the same as coal or natural gas. Like, it's a little bit different, but it's roughly the same. But the biggest difference is when you burn coal, you produce carbon dioxide and coal ash. The carbon dioxide goes into the atmosphere. The coal ash, they usually will dump in landfills, or they'll dump into people's drinking water if they're allowed to, which they always campaign to be allowed. I don't know why they love dumping coal ash into rivers, and I don't understand that. At least a landfill makes sense to me, but they always want to go for the rivers. Anyways, but when you burn iron, all you get is iron oxide, which is basically rust or hematite. And you can take the hematite or the iron oxide out of the burner, and then you can convert it back into iron by electrolysis. If you heat it up enough, you can make it dissociate, but probably electrolysis. And then you basically make iron again, and then you can burn it a second time, and then a third time, and then a fourth time, and then a fifth time. You can keep burning it forever, basically. So you burn it, and then you gather it up, remove the oxygen, burn it again, and you just repeat that. So you could essentially make power plants that you basically just reuse the fuel with over and over and over again. And you have to take, it takes energy to remove the oxygen. Like, it takes energy to electrolyze the oxygen out of the iron oxide. But if you have electricity, it's not a big deal. In fact, you could just have solar panel stations that all they do is power these little factories that just reprocess iron oxide back into iron. So you get basically, the entire circular process is clean. And yeah, that's it. You just burn iron. You can also burn aluminum, and that produces more energy. But but it's more expensive. It's still cheaper than the natural gas, but it is more expensive than iron. Iron is really, really cheap. And iron and aluminum are also both very stable in terms of money. Oh, we have two exotic. Ooh, they're both exotic. Let's go there. Anyways, it's more financially stable than natural gas or coal or any petrochemical, actually. And so what you could do is you could have aluminum burners in cars that charge up batteries. So you basically have a plug-in electric hybrid car, but instead of a gas engine, it's a aluminum burning engine. Or yeah. And what you would basically be left with is a car that has the range of a plug-in hybrid, maybe even a little bit more, with far less of a price tag, because the aluminum is much cheaper than gasoline. And because you can also be recycled, what you could theoretically do is every time you go and, service your car, you could have the oxide powder removed and then get like a rebate on that, kind of like taking in recycling cans and bottles and getting money from that. But if you did that, you'd probably want to make it so it has to be removed from the car at a place and not just remove a pan. Because if you can just remove the pan, then people would probably go around stealing people's car like oxide pans to sell them. So not a good idea. Anyways, the point is, using like iron or aluminum, we could make clean energy that's renewable and also cheap. Because just like burning iron, we could just use scrap iron. We could just like go to scrap yards, get a whole bunch of iron, grind it up into powder, burn it, and then recycle it over and over and over again, and just keep using scrap iron. Like, you don't even have to mine any more iron, so you get an incredibly cheap electricity. And because it's cheap to burn and it's cheap to produce, the energy is cheap to sell. In theory, of course, they would find a way to make it more expensive because, well, you know how it is. But it's such a fun idea. I'll do a whole video on it where I go into the details, but it's really cool. So I was harassing our energy minister about that. I don't expect to hear back from them. with the federal MPs, they tend to get back to me. Unless it's the Bloc Québécois, they usually ignore me, but nobody cares about them anyways. But provincial politicians tend to ignore me. In fact, I think I'm on a list, and they just ignore my stuff in general. Because I have found that if I make a fake email, like a throwaway Gmail account, then that's more likely to get a response to my actual email. So I'm pretty sure my email is on a spam filter, which I am very proud of. I am very, very proud of that. Again, the best way to note that you live in a free country is, can you harass and insult your politicians and make fun of their policies without retribution? And the answer is yes. Anyways, that's been 20 minutes. This was a very rambly episode, but I needed to do something. And yeah, so video. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have ideas for what me to talk about or where to go, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be working on my game a bit more, so that should be coming out soon. Probably by the end of the month, it'll be out. Maybe sooner, I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, I'll post a trailer for it, and I'll also talk about the Steam page once it's up. So look forward to that. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and space.